The dim fluorescent lights of the forward operating base in Helmand province buzzed overhead like angry hornets, casting harsh shadows across the scarred metal tables of the chow hall. It was 0200 hours, the dead of night, when exhaustion makes even the toughest warriors vulnerable. Petty Officer First Class Marcus Razor Delgado, a Navy SEAL with 3 combat tours under his belt and a chest full of medals he never talked about, slumped into a plastic chair, his plate of reheated MRE lasagna untouched. Across from him sat a woman he'd never seen before. Olive-drab flight suit, no name tape, no rank insignia, just a pair of piercing green eyes that seemed to catalogue every weakness in the room. Razor, running on 3 hours of sleep and a bad case of post-mission adrenaline crash, decided to break the ice the only way SEALs know how, with a joke. "So, sweetheart," he drawled, loud enough for the half-dozen Spec Ops guys around them to hear, "What's your rank? Or do they just let anyone fly the pretty helicopters now?" The table erupted in tired laughter. The woman didn't flinch. She simply lifted her coffee mug, took a slow sip and said, "My rank's classified, Razor. And so's the rest of me." The laughter died like someone flipped a switch. Razor's smirk faltered. He opened his mouth to fire back, then the door slammed open. A full-bird colonel stormed in, face like thunder, eyes locked on the woman. "Ghost," he barked, using a call sign Razor had never heard. "Commander wants you in the skiff, now." The colonel's gaze swept the room, landing on Razor with the weight of a sniper's crosshair. "And you, Delgado, stand down. Her identity's above your pay grade. Above mine, too. If you're hooked already and love stories that hit like a gut punch, smash that subscribe button right now so you never miss the next one." The chow hall went dead silent. You could hear the hum of the refrigeration units and the distant thump of rotor blades from the flight line. Razors. Buddies, guys who'd fast-roped into Taliban strongholds and laughed off RPG shrapnel, suddenly found their boots fascinating. The woman they'd just called sweetheart stood up with the kind of fluid grace that screamed years of training most soldiers never touch. She was maybe 5'6", but in that moment she filled the room like a predator. As she passed Razor, she leaned in just enough for him to catch the faint scent of jet fuel and gun oil. "Next time you want to play ranked chicken seal," she whispered, "make sure you're not the one about to get plucked." Then she was gone, disappearing through the blast doors with the colonel on her heels. Razor sat there, lasagna congealing, feeling like he'd just stepped on a landmine he didn't know was there. Word travels fast in a combat zone, especially when it's wrapped in mystery. By dawn, the base was buzzing. The mystery pilot, Ghost, wasn't just some hotshot warrant officer. She'd landed a blacked-out little bird on the roof of a Taliban commander's compound at 0300, extracted a high-value target while under fire from 3 directions, and exfiltrated without a single round hitting her airframe. The SEALs who'd been on the ground for that op, they swore the helo came out of nowhere, rotors whispering like a ghost, hence the call sign. But the real kicker? The HVT she pulled out was a CIA asset who'd been burned 6 months earlier, presumed Kia. Ghost didn't just save his life, she'd rewritten an entire intelligence failure. And Razor? He'd mocked her in front of half of Team 4. The next 48 hours were a masterclass in humiliation. Razor's team leader, Master Chief Hayes, pulled him into the cage, a shipping container turned briefing room, and tore into him like a chainsaw through plywood. "You think this is Buds, where you haze the new guy and everyone laughs? That woman's got more confirmed kills than your entire platoon combined, and half of them don't even have paperwork." Razor tried to protest. He'd been joking, just blowing off steam, but Hayes wasn't having it. "She's DevGru Red Squadron, son, Tier 1, the kind of operator whose file is so redacted it's basically a coloring book, and you called her sweetheart." Razor left the cage with his tail between his legs and a new mission, find Ghost and apologize before she decided to make an example of him. Finding her wasn't easy. Ghost didn't bunk with the pilots, didn't eat in the chow hall, didn't even use the same latrines as the regular troops. She was a phantom, materializing only when the mission demanded it. Razor started asking around, carefully. A Marine door gunner swore he'd seen her jogging the perimeter at 0400, running sub-5-minute miles in full kit. A British SAS trooper claimed she'd outshot him on the range with a pistol she'd borrowed, putting 3 rounds in a dime at 50 meters, left-handed. The stories piled up, each more insane than the last, until Razor started to wonder if Ghost was even human. Then, on the 3rd night, he found her. She was alone on the flight line, silhouetted against the floodlights, running diagnostics on a drone the size of a hawk. The thing was sleek, matte black, no markings, definitely not standard issue. Razor approached slow, hands visible, like he was walking up on a sniper. "Ghost," he said, voice low. She didn't turn, just kept tapping on a tablet. "Petty Officer Delgado," she replied without looking up. "Come to measure dicks again?" Razor winced. "I came to apologize. What I said in the chow hall, it was out of line. I didn't know who you were." That got her attention. She set the tablet down and faced him, arms crossed. Up close he could see the faint scar running through her left eyebrow, the kind you get from shrapnel or a knife. "You think that's the problem?" she asked. "That you didn't know my resume? I've been called worse by better, Razor. The issue is you assumed. You saw a woman in a flight suit and decided she was less. That's not ignorance, that's arrogance." Razor opened his mouth, closed it. For the first time in years he had no comeback. Ghost stepped closer, close enough that he could see the flecks of gold in her green eyes. "You want to make it right? Fine. Tomorrow night, 2,200 hours, helo pad, bring your A-game." Then she was gone again, melting into the shadows like smoke. Razor stood there, heart hammering, wondering what the hell he'd just agreed to. The next night, the base was locked down for a high-risk op. Intel had pinpointed a Taliban bomb maker in a village 10 clicks out, guy responsible for the IED that took out a Marine convoy last week, killing 6. The strike was greenlit for a direct action raid, SEALs on the ground, air support on standby. Razor's platoon was the assault force. Ghost? She was the wild card. At 2,155, Razor stood on the helo pad, kitted up in full battle rattle, plate carrier, NVGs, suppressed M4. The rest of his team was already loaded into 2 Black Hawks. Then Ghost arrived, not walking, but dropping from the sky. She rappelled out of a stealth drone the size of a pickup truck, landing cat-quiet beside him. No flight suit this time. She was in cryo-precision gear, face blackened, a compact scar H slung across her chest. "You're with me," she said, "not your platoon, just us." Razor's team leader started to protest, but a single look from the colonel shut him down. Whatever Ghost's clearance was, it outranked everyone. The drone lifted them silently into the night, no rotor wash, no sound, just a low hum like distant bees. Inside, Ghost handed Razor a tablet. The screen showed a live feed of the target village, thermal signatures blooming like ghosts. "Your bomb maker's in the compound at Grid 34 Sierra Echo," she said. "But he's got a dead man switch rigged to a truck bomb. We go in loud, he blows half the village. We need to take him alive, extract the switch codes, and disappear before his guards know we're there." Razor stared at the screen. "That's a 2-man job?" Ghost's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. "It's a 1-woman job. You're just here to learn." They inserted 3 clicks out, fast roping into a wadi so dry it cracked under their boots. Ghost moved like liquid, covering ground in silence, her drone orbiting overhead on autonomous patrol. Razor struggled to keep up, his 240 pounds of muscle and gear no match for her economy of motion. Halfway to the target, they hit a patrol. 4 Taliban fighters, AKs slung, smoking hash and laughing. Ghost signaled halt. Razor's finger tightened on his trigger, but she shook her head. 30 seconds later, the patrol dropped. Silent, instantaneous. Razor hadn't even heard the shots. Suppressed, 300 blackout rounds from the drone, guided by Ghost's tablet. She didn't even break stride. The compound was a fortress, mud walls, guard towers, dogs. Ghost scaled the outer wall like a spider, planting microcharges on the camera junctions. Razor followed, grunting as he hauled himself over. Inside, the bomb maker was in a courtyard, hunched over a laptop wired to a pickup truck packed with artillery shells. Ghost ghosted forward, a shadow among shadows. Razor covered her 6, heart in his throat. Then it went wrong. One of the dogs caught their scent, started barking. Guards spun, rifles up. Ghost didn't hesitate. She sprinted straight at the bomb maker, diving over the truck's hood as bullets sparked off the ground. Razor opened fire, dropping 2 guards, but more poured in. The bomb maker lunged for the dead man's switch. Ghost tackled him, driving her knee into his spine, wrenching his arm back until something snapped. She zip-tied him in seconds, then yanked the laptop free. "Codes!" she shouted. The man spat in Pashto. Ghost responded by pressing her suppressed pistol to his temple. "English or blood, your choice." Razor was pinned behind a water barrel, rounds chewing the air around him. He saw Ghost drag the bomb maker toward the exfil point, the man screaming as she dislocated his shoulder to keep him compliant. Then the truck bomb's timer started beeping. Someone had triggered a failsafe. 30 seconds. Ghost looked at Razor across the courtyard, eyes calm. "Run," she said. He didn't. Instead, he laid down suppressive fire, emptying his mag to buy her time. Ghost reached the wall, tossed the bomb maker over like a sack of flour, then turned back for Razor. 20 seconds. She sprinted through the gauntlet, bullets sparking off her armor, and tackled him just as the world turned white. The explosion was a monster. Concussive wave, heat, shrapnel. Razor came to with Ghost dragging him through the dirt, her face bloodied but fierce. The drone swooped in, lowering a cable. She clipped them both in, and they ascended into the night as the compound burned below. Back at base, the medics patched them up. Razor with a fractured rib, Ghost with a through-and-through in her thigh she hadn't even mentioned. The bomb maker sang like a canary, giving up an entire network. The colonel pinned a silver star on Ghost's chest in a closed ceremony. No photos, no records. Razor got a handshake and a quiet "good work, son." But the real moment came later, in the chow hall at 0300. Ghost slid into the seat across from Razor, same table as before. She was in civvies now, jeans, black hoodie, hair down for the first time. No makeup, no armor, just a woman who'd carried him out of hell. "So," she said, pushing a plate of lasagna toward him, "still want to know my rank?" Razor laughed, the sound raw. "Ma'am, I don't even want to know your real name." She smiled, and for the first time it reached her eyes. "Good answer, Razor, good answer." They sat there until the cooks kicked them out, 2 warriors who'd seen the abyss and come back changed. Ghost never told him her real identity. Some secrets are bigger than friendship. But she did leave him with one thing, a challenge coin blacked out, no markings except a single engraved word, respect. Razor carried it on every mission. After that, a reminder that the deadliest person in the room might just be the one you underestimated. And that's the story of the night a Navy SEAL learned that some ghosts are real and they don't suffer fools. If this hit you in the feels, drop a like, share it with a buddy, and let me know in the comments from which part of the country are you watching this video.